Hello, folks, and welcome. I think we should be out of host mode now. To It Builds Character number 7, a show where every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, I build a character, typically of your guys' suggestions in Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. We've built a bunch of things. We take everything from character concepts to fictional characters, trying to replicate them in the in Dungeons and Dragons. So today the suggestion came through to do Tony Stark. Well, more specifically, it said Iron Man. I assume they didn't want me, as it's a character building show, to build a suit of armor, but more to build Tony Stark himself, who is Iron Man, and then, I guess, spoiler alert, we'll go from there. So, as per always here on It Builds Character, I try to keep everything as focused in the existing published sources, whether it be a published book or Unearthed Arcana. However, sometimes I do have to homebrew things. It's just the nature of the beast. Trying to make a Jedi like we did last week was a homebrew class. Trying to make Hellboy, there is no half demon race that he was. So there is going to be a degree of homebrew here on this It Builds Character, as trying to shoehorn the Iron Man armor into a fantasy setting may prove to be a touch difficult, but I think we're up to the challenge. So, Tony Stark is a human. So we've got that right here. And I decided to go with the Artificer, as I feel like that's about as close as we're going to get to the tinkering nature of Tony Stark, someone who built weapons for a living and then went to become, who we all know him to be, building the Iron Man armor. I also try to, as a general rule here on It Builds Character, build characters of around level 12, unless I feel like there's some drastic difference where I feel like they are definitely a level 20 character, or they are maybe like a lesser level character. I stick around 12 because that's around middle of the road. You get your last, an ability score improvement. You peak through 11, which is usually a nice big bump to every class. And I use the standard array stats 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8, as I feel like those are probably some of the best options out there, rather than having to argue and try to fight things for point build, which is for point buy, which is fine. These help to make things a little bit more consistent over multiple videos. And obviously you can't go rolled stats because, you could have somebody you could roll all really low stats or all really high stats, and that's just not the nature of a lot of these characters that we're building. So you can see I arranged them 15, 14. Tony Stark I'm using an Artificer here. He also is very intelligent, but an Artificer focuses heavily on intelligence. So that's why that's our highest stat. Charisma, he is a ladies' man, so Charisma's got to be decent. I put Constitution, mostly because he drinks a lot and manages to hold his own. He's a general. He's got like some degree of wisdom to him. And then I gave him a 10 strength and an 8 dexterity. Again, with standard array, you're going to have one crap stat, and some of these characters are more or less flawless, so they're not going to have that. Yes, you could argue that Tony's a little bit more dexterous than an 8, and maybe not as strong, but, depending on which... I didn't really think about what time period Iron Man and Tony Stark I'm building here. He did receive training from Captain America at some points, and I don't pretend to be an Iron Man expert by any means. I've read a handful of comics. I've played a bunch of games. I've, obviously seen all the Marvel movies, but I'm going off of, what my knowledge of Tony Stark is. So, he's a variant human, which gives him a +1 to 2 stats. So we're going to give him a +1, we're going with variant human. So we're going to give him a +1 to his maximum Constitution here, up to a 14, and we'll put his intelligence here up to a 16. He does get a feat as well, And we're going to go with the Prodigy feat from the Unearthed Arcana racial feats. Yeah, and I figure the Iron Man suit does most of the Dex stuff. So, like, I mean, if you think of Iron Man, the armor as in heavy armor per D&D terms, you don't need Dex anyway. But Tony Stark is often referred to as a prodigy, so we're going to give him the Prodigy feat here, which gives him a +1 on an ability score of our choosing, proficiency in one skill, one tool, and fluency in one language. So we're going to go here, and we're going to give him another +1 to his intelligence. So we're at 17. He's going to get a skill. We'll go with history here, and we'll go with investigation. These are his two from his race here, and we'll say he's got common. Again, it's the languages. I'm just gonna say bonus. I'm not gonna go through and do languages. It's a D&D world, Tony. I mean, I guess you could probably say Dwarven because there are dwarves as far as like Asgardian things go, but you get the point. I'll just leave it as bonus. Because trying to do D&D languages, I mean, you could do different, IRL languages, but... And he gets a set of tools. I'm going to come back to that as he's going to get a bunch from his class. So we're going to write tool prof, and we'll come back to that. Because he's going to get a bunch from his class that are going to give him some bonuses there. So, that is pretty much everything we get for being a human. So he is I'm going to go with noble as it's the closest thing to what he is. I mean, you could argue that he is a noble, technically. I mean, he is comes from a rich family, so that's about the closest analogy we're going to get, which will give him history and persuasion. We already gave him history. Persuasion is a definite. We'll give him Arcana because I feel like Arcana is it's the closest thing to like a lot of the stuff that we're gonna deal with here. One type of gaming set, and then a language of our choosing. So we've got another bonus language here. We've got gaming set. And then we just have some clothes and some money and position of privilege, things of that nature. So let's jump over to the Artificer. So he gets light and medium armor, simple weapons. He's going to get Thieves' Tools and 2 other tools of his choice. So we're going to go here. We'll go Thieves' Tools. We'll go Alchemist Supplies. And tinkering tools. So right there you can see again, and also a testament to Tony, he has a lot of these abilities. So what other tool proficiencies are there to see that we don't have picked out already? Disguise kit, forgery kit, navigator's kit. Tony seems to be pretty well versed in flying things, so we're just gonna give him I guess we'll give him vehicles. He's also a pretty good driver, so we'll go with land vehicles. And then he also gets another tool proficiency. We'll give him Smith's tools as well. Actually, yeah, Smith's tools. Yeah, alright, so that's true. I mean, and Tony did do a lot of research in general about everything, just to better understand it. I'm actually going to switch Smith's tools and Alchemist supplies, so that the ones he gets from his class are... oops. So this is going to be... so the ones he gets from his class are Thieves' Tools, Smith Tools, and Tinkering Tools, because they're going to get the largest benefit from that. Alright, so he has to choose a type, alchemist or gunsmith. He gets detect magic and identify as rituals. Again, this is due to the nature of the class. So we've got and then identify as a ritual. Again, you could argue that these are some sort of handheld analysis or scanner. And then he also gets his specialty. Now, he's not really... The alchemist doesn't really fit, and this actually makes me feel like some of the stuff that people have touched on in homebrews are that there should be a third archetype. You should remove the mechanical servant entirely from the base class and make it its own golemancy archetype or specialist rather. And normally I wouldn't agree with that, but I mean it sort of fits here with the Tony Stark vibe. But we're gonna go with gunsmith because before he did any of that, he was a weapons maker, so I feel like that makes sense. So as a gunsmith, he's gonna get proficiency in Smith's tools. So we get another proficiency. I mean, it's Tony Stark here, so what else are we gonna give him? Tinkers, Masons. I'm gonna give him Mason's tools, because at one time he did make armor out of stone. I feel like that's not unreasonable. And then he gets a thunder cannon, so we'll put that in here. It doesn't really... It's not like we're not really going to be using this, but we could argue that we could work this into something later. So the thunder cannon is a ranged weapon. It has a range of what is it, 150, 500. So yep, that's sort of my thought process. And it does 2d6 piercing, and it is a ranged weapon. So unfortunately, currently it's only going to have a 3 to hit. It's 4 minus 1, but we'll come back to that. 2d6, and it has magic bullets. I'm going to write Arcane Magazine, but I'm going to kind of ignore that because, well, you'll see later. So, Arcane Magazine, with the bullets are considered magic. So, we've got that. 2d6 damage. 150, 500. That's right. Range, 150, 500. So now we've got it there. So let's continue onward. Level 2. We get tool expertise, which means we have expertise in every tool granted to us from this class, which is thieves' tools, smith tools, tinker tools, and mason's tools. So intelligence is actually a 3 now. So that's double proficiency, that's 8, that's 11. So we're going to say 11. Actually, I'm sorry, this is dexterity. So this is actually going to be 7. This is going to be 11. This is also going to be 11. Gaming set will be 7. Alchemist supplies. Is 7. And then a vehicle's land, I don't really know what that would be, so we'll leave that alone for now. Oh, we also forgot to go over what skills he gets for the class. He can choose deception, medicine. Okay, so we're going to give him deception. Due through additional skill selection, we'll choose perception. And then... not really so much on the nature or the religion side of things. I guess we could give him sleight of hand. He does some sneaky, underhanded things. So those are all of our skill proficiencies at the current. And then he also gets a wondrous invention at level 2. So he get a 2. So we're gonna go with the goggles of night. Okay. Next up, Level 3, we start getting access to spells. That's a little bit wonky, but we can make it work. So, this is also where you're going to start to see where the Artificer class starts to fall behind in other classes, and that the base class itself is fairly weak compared to... The subclasses are strong, but the base class is weak. So we get the Thundermonger here, which is kind of funny as the Ironmonger in Iron Man lore. So we're going to add an extra d6 thunder damage to our Thunder Cannon. So we're going to go 2d6 piercing plus 1d6 thunder. That is way too small to read. We're just going to go... How about we just do it that way? We'll just get rid of that. We can write Thundermonger. Oh, and we'll go down here and we'll say Prodigy. Okay, that way make sure we keep track of our feats. And we get spells. How do we do? Hey, Hypertroller. How do we do spells? We've got 3 spells known and 2 per day. So, 3 spells known. Okay. We're gonna go with Shield of Faith. That's not how you spell faith. Shield of Faith. Expeditious Retreat. And yeah, well, when you have that low constitution, that'll do it for you, Hypertroller. I guess to Hypertroller's point, I posted a character sheet earlier in Discord. I'll put the link in there. But if any of you guys haven't checked it out, we do have a Discord where you can join and chat with myself as well as several other folks in the Nerd Immersion community. So, Shield of Faith, Expeditious Retreat, and I'm going to go with Alarm. I would say, I mean, obviously you want to give Cure Wounds because a self-heal is always a nice thing. But Tony Stark doesn't really have access to that ability, and the Iron Man armor doesn't self-heal the wearer either, so that doesn't really work. So we're going to go with Alarm. Then... Oh, and we have 2 per day. Oh, and we also have Mending as a cantrip. So, next up is level 4, which I think all we're going to get is... oh, we get the ability... we have, let's see, ability score improvement. Do we have any other good human-based ones? I don't think so. I think the only one is Human Determination, right? Is the only other one. There's a +1 to a stat. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Because I can't think of any other ones that really jump out at me that are that boost intelligence at all. We'll just go check real quick, though. Is there a linguist, keen mind? Tony Stark does have a keen mind, but I don't feel like he always knows which way is north and, you know, knows the number of hours left until sunset. So we're going to go with Human Determination. I'm going to give him another +1 here. 18. So this is Human Determination +1 int, and this gives us once per short rest, roll an attack, ability check, or saving throw. Let me make an attack. Yeah, so there we go. Oh, and he has the infuse magic ability. So infuse magic. Infuse items with spells. Takes 1 minute to cast. Max per RS equal to intelligence mod usable by creature with 6 plus intelligence. Okay, so that is that. Then the next at level 5, we're gonna get superior attunement. Tune to 5, or tune to, sorry, 3. Wow, 4 magic items. And we get another wondrous invention. So we're gonna get from this list. Gonna go with the Lantern of Revealing. We get another spell, right? Another spell known. 4, yeah. Oh yeah, so yeah, 4 spells known, okay. So the next one I guess we'll learn is probably gonna be Jump. Alright, that's level 5. Right? Superior attunement, wondrous invention. 6 is where things really start to change for us here. So this is gonna say Mechanical Servant. Artificers aren't half casters, they're third casters. Artificers are third casters like an Eldritch Knight or an Arcane Trickster. So this is also the first time we've ever had a class that is by itself a base class that is a third caster. Yes. Means they're not a half caster, they're a third caster. Means they get their spell ability to cast spells at third level, and they gain slots at 1/3 the progression of a full caster, as opposed to half the progression of a full caster, like a paladin. No, Arcane Tricksters and Eldritch Knights are third casters. Paladins and Rangers are half. If you ask me, I would argue with you that Artificers should be half casters. It doesn't make sense to have a brand new class all by itself start as a third caster. But if you were to ask me, I would say, where is it? Nerd Immersion Artificer. I would say to go here. This is my personal feelings, but I would say go to this link. And that's my take on how the Artificer should be updated, having played one for several levels. That's how I think the Artificer should be adjusted to be more in line, power-wise, with the rest of the remaining classes. However, per the typical rules of It Builds character, I'm only sticking with published and or Unearthed Arcana sources, with the exception of a little bit of homebrew here and there where necessary. I'm not going to do a full overhaul and use a whole homebrew thing that I use to make it, but you guys can feel free to check that out. I have actually passed that by my DM to use. Yes, it's absolutely being looked at already, confirmed by Wizards of the Coast. It is available on the Dungeon Masters Guild. The thought process behind that is that it will be updated on the Dungeon Masters Guild to get playtest, and then eventual playtest in the Adventurers League before it becomes published in a book. And it is 100% confirmed it will not be coming in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, which comes out in November, so it won't be till sometime next year. But yes, I agree that they should get tweaked. They need to be a little bit more powerful, and I feel like what I did isn't overly powerful, by doing something like switching them to half-caster and giving them a couple other options. But I'm starting to digress. Mechanical Servant, going Iron Man armor. So this is where things are going to take a little bit of a different turn. Typically, a Mechanical Servant per right here is you get the service of essentially a Mechanical Servant, which is basically an animal companion or a steed or a familiar or whatever you want to call it. They are a construct creature. Their challenge rating 2 or less, which makes them the most powerful, I guess, minion, if you will, that's been allowed per a somewhat official source that can only be large size or smaller. And then you can see the stats here. They can't be charmed. They have dark vision, immune to poison, blah, blah, blah. So... we will be... so the Iron Man armor is not going to be a true Mechanical Servant, in that it's an automaton that travels around and does its own thing. We are going to rework the Mechanical Servant to be the Iron Man armor. So this is going to be a mechanical thing that Tony has built that he can climb inside, and that will give him other benefits, which is also what we're going to say where most of the spells come from, and most of his magic items, we're going to say, also are part of the armor. So, like, he has Goggles of Night and a Lantern of Revealing. Goggles of Night lets you see in the dark, and the Lantern of Revealing reveals invisible creatures. We're going to say that those are built into the Iron Man armor, so when he gets in there, he has night vision, and he can see invisible things. We're also going to say that the Thunder Cannon from the Gunsmith archetype is part of the Iron Man armor, so it's going to be... Basically, by the time we get to the end there, it's probably going to be more like the Unibeam, because it's going to do a decent amount of damage. But we're going to take some of the stuff that this gives him. So it already gives him dark vision, but we have the Goggles of Night, so we're going to say that. And then it's not worried about that. Yeah, you know what? We're going to say that the armor gives him immunity to poison and the poison condition. I'm not too worried about that being OP, as there are 2 races, canonical races that you can play as. They have immunity to poison in the race. So I feel like a function of your class granting you immunity to poison isn't anything too crazy. It's construct, and then we don't really have to worry too much about the making a melee attack. So we're just going to move on from that. We're going to come back, obviously, to the Iron Man armor. Okay, 7, we get our 2nd level spells and 1 more spell known. So we're going to go here. This goes up to 4, this goes to 2, and we know 2 2nd level spells, or 1 2nd level spell. And what else could we do here? Let's see. I mean, obviously we could choose Levitate, but that only lets you go up and down. The tricky part is giving spells to Tony Stark, because he obviously doesn't have it, so you have to think about it as a function of the suit. This is going to be a little bit of a wonky choice. Let's go with Arcane Lock. And And I'm going to say that that's a lock on the suit itself, so that people that he doesn't want can't get into the suit. We're not doing the stealth suit, so we're not going to mess with invisibility. Enhanceability, maybe. You know what? Yeah, we'll go with enhanceability. It's not a great spell in my mind, but the Iron Man suit just generally enhances everything. So if he were to use it to enhance his strength or his speed, I mean, it doesn't really work with the mental stats, but it is still a game. So we're going to run into some changes here. We also, at this point, we are level 7. This goes up to the Thundermonger here is an additional 3d6. So, let's keep going. Alright, we're up to ability score improvement. That's going to be, this goes up to 20. That's true. He definitely could use that, but the Iron Man armor doesn't really... I don't disagree with your sentiment of that he did build Peter Parker's armor. But to that point, Peter Parker does the spider climbing. The armor doesn't do it. And then we'll say... We'll say aid, which is essentially temporary hit points. And he has to lose one of these, so we're going to lose jump. Yeah, I guess you're right. Jarvis can do that stuff. So that was 8. What we got for 9? Another specialist feature. So for 9, it is the blast wave. Okay. So we've got blast wave, which is action. So it's action 15-foot cone. And what does it do? Strength save, 2d6 force damage, and pushed. Enemies make strength save or take 2d6 force damage or push back 10 feet. So that is that function. That increases as well. Oh, and the thunder cannon here goes up to 4d6. Alright, we're getting to the end here, I think. So we got 10. It's another wondrous invention and another spell. So what do we got here? Not a whole lot of options here. I'm gonna go with, I guess, Decanter of Endless Water or Eyes of Minute. Eyes of Minute Seeing make the most sense. As part of the... A lot of this seems to all be based in the mask, but that's fine. Thankfully, all of these don't require attunement. So these are all just like freebie things. We get another spell. We are at 10. So that is... Yeah, see, we don't get third level spells till... Yeah, we're getting there. We're here. So this is 7. This is 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. So we know another spell. Okay. We're just going to put jump back in for now. We may lose that. Actually, we won't lose that because we won't get higher than second level spells. Because artificers don't get third level spells till level 13. Which is ridiculous. Oh, we get 8. So there we go. There's another one. And then our thunder cannon goes up to 66. 11th level is 66, yeah. So... Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry. 5d6 at 11th level. And none of his other abilities go up, do they? Nope. No, we don't even get the piercing or the explosions. So, okay. Alright, so... Then we're gonna get... I think one more spell. That's the only thing I'm missing here. And another ability score improvement. 12. 8. Yeah, so 8 spells. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You know what? Sure, we can throw in Spider Climb for magnetic boots. Why not? So, this is going to be Artificer. This is going to be Intelligence. The save DC is going to be 17. Right, yeah. This is going to be 9. Alright, so now we can go through and I think... Oh, we have one more ability score improvement. I think Tony has more than a 14 charisma, so we're going to make this a 16. Alright, so let's go through and fill these out. So -1. This is 5. This should be also be a 5. This is 9. This is 1. This 3. My favorite part, filling out all this stuff. So we got 9, 0, oops, nope, 7, 9, 1, 3, 9, 1, oops, 1, 5, 5, 3, 7, 5, oops, nope, oh, -3, -1, and 1. Okay, and then, yeah, this doesn't change, that's still a 3. So, and this is a -1. So, right now, what we're gonna go down here and we're just gonna write this out. So, Iron Man armor. I'm going to put it in here because there's a lot. So this is grants immunity to poison damage and the poisoned condition. Yes, I did. I went with using the servant for the armor, basically. Dark vision, 60 feet. You know what? Actually, we should pull open the Dungeon Master's Guide as well. We're gonna need that. Okay. So we can close this out. So we didn't actually use this at all. And we can close this out because we're done with this. And we're done with the player's handbook as well. No, actually we're kind of changing some of that up as we go here. I didn't pick a beast for the armor because I feel like it's kind of hard to do, so there's gonna be a little bit of homebrew in that. So, what do we have here? We had Eyes of Minute Seeing, so advantage on investigation checks. Advantage on investigation checks. Then we had the Lantern of Revealing, which is so see visible creatures out to 30 feet. We're saying that we're also saying that what is it? spells or functions. Let's see. Spells activated are functions of the suit. So that way he doesn't actually cast the spells per the spell effects. Like Shield of Faith, I pick because it's an additional shield. Expeditious Retreat lets you move very quickly. Alarm, I figured, would be the sensors in the system. Jump would be just a jump start to get up extra high. Arcane Lock would be to lock the suit down so that people can't get in that he doesn't want to. Enhance Ability would be him using it to alter some of his abilities, or to Zelda's point, I think, from before, or was that Hyper Troller's point from before, rather, that it could be him asking Jarvis for information. Aid is just, I'm treating more like the extra bonus from the armor, is a little bit of extra health. And Spider Climb for magnetized boosts. Also, the Mending cantrip would be itself repairing itself. We're going to say that the Blast Wave action and the Thunder Cannon are all functions of the suit itself. Rather than him shooting a gun, it's like a Repulsor Blast or the Unibeam or something of that nature. So, also he can attune to... Was it? No, it's only 4. 5 comes at... Superior attunement again is 15? Just double check that. 15. Cool. So, you said, did I pick a beast? We could look at the beasts as a basis for it. Let's see here. Challenge rating. Well, we got challenge rating 2. And then, let's see. You know what? I'm not even going to bother, because trying to shoehorn beast stats into that isn't going to work. I'm also going to say, for the function of the suit, that the Thunder Cannon is part of the suit, so that it's going to use his intelligence modifier as opposed to his dexterity modifier. So this is going to be a 9. Right now, that's doing 2d6 piercing damage plus 5d6 thunder damage. And I can do a blast wave of force damage and a 15-foot cone in front to push people back. These are very Iron Man things, so that works out pretty well. Now we're pretty much done with everything from the Artificer class. I think. I mean, we showed that Tony's exceptionally smart. He's got a lot of cool stuff going for him. It would have been nice to get up to higher levels so that we could go and just give him fly per the fly spell, and that would explain how the suit could fly. Or, water breathing, because the suit works underwater. Or haste, things of that nature. But we're going to go and start adding stuff to the suit now. So first of all, the suit is armor. So this is going to be some form of heavy armor. Also, the Iron Man suit is legendary. Let's be honest, and it's going to require attunement. But it's going to require, similar to what we did with Darth Vader's kind of robotics, we're going to say that it counts as multiple, it has these items in it, but these items are non-attunement. It will be able to add basically 4 attunement items into it. So let's see, what can we add? We need to add some form of armor. So let's scroll up to the top here. I mean, we could just go with adamantine armor and say it's adamantine plate mail, but because it's never... Yeah, it's made out of some pretty tough stuff. So let's go functions as adamantine plate mail. So that's going to give us a base AC of 18. Which I don't know if it has to be that much higher, because Tony gets hit a lot. He's not unhittable. I mean, his suit does take hits from bullets and things, and that's not a bad thing there. So we've got adamantine armor. It doesn't really... We don't need to add that. Or we could have just been it's an apparatus of Koalish and just left it at that. Let's see. There's all these armors of resistances and things of that nature also could be useful options, like, or, you know, just general +1 armor. The dwarven kind doesn't make sense. We might just give it some sort... It's gonna have flight, obviously. We could give it the boots of levitation functionality. That way he could float up, because he can hover. But that doesn't allow him to move forwards and backwards unless we're arguing that he's using the repulsors to do it. Then we're getting into a whole big thing there. It does make him stronger, though. How strong? Say, like, stone... like Hill Giant Strength, I think, or Gauntlets of Ogre Power. It makes you stronger than it makes you stronger than a person. So we're gonna say it functions like a Belt of Stone Giant Strength. Functions Belt of Stone Giant Strength, which would give him a 23 strength. Which it would just do like 10/23. So that's 0/ what is that, 6? So, and this is athletics is 0. So, Tony's strength is a 10, but the suit's strength is a 23. I don't think that that's unreasonable either. Boots of speed. Double your walking speed. I'm open to ideas as well, guys, if you have thoughts on what you would, what else we could add into this. Doesn't teleport. It's not a cloak of displacement. It would be, I think Tony's strength should be at least a 13. He does work out. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with your concepts about him being stronger. It's just a function of the way the class is. I mean, I feel like when I had to sacrifice things based on standard array, I mean, we could lower his wisdom to a 10, which I guess you could argue he's not the wisest person, and make his wisdom, his strength a 12. But some of it is just a function of, you know, trying to not do stuff. So he had to be intelligent, he had to be pretty, and he drinks a lot. So he's got to be good at Constitution. Let's see. Let's keep going. What do we got here? Yeah, so we gave him the belt. The suit gives him, what do we say? Fire Giant Strength. So it gives him a 23 strength. So I'm on board for that. Let's see here. You know what? I'll agree with you. We'll put this as a 10, and we'll make his strength a 12. You guys bring up good points. He is good at, you know, smithing. So, doesn't really change too much. But, there we go. A little bit of a shift. Let's see. What other options does he have in his armor? We added a lot of this stuff, a lot of the eyes, things that let you have all these bonuses for seeing things. We gave him the extra strength. Let's see. Doesn't really need any of that stuff. No, 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 no. Doesn't let him teleport. Horn of Blasting would be interesting, but it's some of its abilities don't really work. What about iron stones? Nah. Let's see. Yeah, it just depends on which version of Tony Stark you're talking about. You know. We could argue that it also gives him increased constitution because the suit can take a bunch of hits as well. Oh, we're going to give him... Bless you, Claire! Functions as a necklace of adaptation. Which makes sense because that is attunement as well. So we're going to actually put in here, this is attunement. This is attunement. But because that allows him to breathe in environments where you normally couldn't breathe, which makes sense because he does go into space, he does go underwater, so I'm good with that. That makes a lot of sense to me. We gave him immunity to disease as part of the suit. Let's see. Anything else jump out at me here? Telekinesis, swimming, water walking, warmth, X-ray vision. I don't think any of the robes will really fit, or the rods. Right? No. Trying to think what else we could stick into this suit. Alright, yeah, that's pretty much the end, right? Let's see. Hey, babe.
Hi.
Trying to finish building Tony Stark.
Are you live right now?
Yeah.
Oh, love you.
Love you too.
Peace.
I'm gonna make sure I eat my cookie, don't worry. Oh, how about we make it also function as wings of flying? That works. That gives the flight ability of the suit. So that's pretty solid. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is technically a sentient suit. So, I'm thinking... Right now we have 3 attunement items. So right now the suit grants him immunity to poison damage in the poison condition. It gives him dark vision at 60 feet. He can see invisible creatures to 30 feet. He has advantage on investigation checks. All of his spells that we have are activated through the suit. It functions as adamantine plate mail, so he's immune to critical hits. It functions as a belt of stone giant strength, so he's extra strong while within the suit. It functions as a necklace of adaptation, so that while within the suit, he can breathe in any environment. It functions as wings of flying, so that he can fly while within the suit. I'm thinking we add functions as a wand of magic missiles for when he shoots off like the little blasts that hit all those guys, like the little shots that shoot off, because that's non-attunement, and that means he can shoot off little auto-tracking shots, which I think makes sense. Thunder Cannon and Blast Wing are functions of the suit. So so right now he's got Magic Missile, he's also got the Thunder Cannon, and the Blast Wave are all part of the suit as well. So I'm on the fence for one more thing that's attunement. I thought about potentially functions as a Wand of Lightning Bolts that shoots a blast of lightning. It's not really something that the suit does, but for all intents and purposes, it's a beam of energy that goes at 150 feet. But that's limited use. You could argue the laser that he does could be that as well. You could say, I mean, we kind of already give him some of the other stuff. I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards Wand of Lightning Bolt is not a bad call. The only other one I'm thinking of as well is... Where is it here? Or an Amulet of Health. Functions as an Amulet of Health, potentially making... When he's within the suit, his Constitution is a 19. More or less just because the suit can take extra hits before he get knocked out of it. So what are your thoughts on that, chat? Functions as a Wand of Lightning Bolts or an Amulet of Health for the final ability for the suit. So right now, just to recap, it has the Thunder Cannon and Blast Wave. So he can, every turn, as an action, do a shot out to 150 feet that does 76 damage. He can, as an action, blast out a 15-foot cone of force damage that pushes people back. He can blast out magic missiles. He can fly, see invisible things. Is really good at seeing things in general due to the scanners within the suit. The suit is immune to critical hits, being adamantine plate. He can breathe in any environment, and it gives him a strength of 23 while within it. So I'm fine with that. So we can say functions as an Amulet of Health. So that's 4 total attunement items. He's fully attuned up by attuning to this. So this is oh, this is also a 2. This is so this is a 6 /19. So that's /4, and that's /8. So let's do some math real quick on his HP, and then we can put Tony to bed. So let's see here. We've got his D8, so he's got he's level 12, so 11 times 77 plus 10 is 87 as Tony Stark. We could do wings. We could do winged boots. My thought process. I mean, I'm okay with switching to winged boots. I went with wings of flying more for the extra speed. But you bring up a good point. You can fly longer with winged boots over wings of speed. So that's our wings of flying. So you know what? You've convinced me. Solid argument. Winged boots. Done and done. So then that's true. I didn't even think about that. So let's go with let's see. So it's 9 times 11 is 99 plus 12. Oops, that's too many. 12. So 87. So, one last run through right now. So, we'll put in the unarmed strike as well. Unarmed strike. We're just going to put it in for the suit, though. suit is 10 to hit, and it does 1 plus your strength mod, so 7 points. So, right now, Tony Stark, he's got a 20 intelligence, 16 charisma, 10 wisdom, 12 strength, and 8 dex. You can see all of his various stats here. He's got a bunch of bonus languages and a ton of tool sets. But we are building more Iron Man, so when he dons the Iron Man suit, he has a 19 constitution and a 23 strength. He has access to the Thunder Cannon, 76 damage to 150 feet. The Blast Wave, 15-foot cone that does 2d6 force damage and shoves people back. Once per short rest, he can roll an attack ability check or saving throw with advantage due to his human determination. He's immune to poison while within the suit. He has dark vision to 60 feet. He can see invisible creatures to 60 feet, and he has advantage on investigation checks. He is immune to critical hits because the suit is adamantine plate mail. It also lets him breathe in any environment. It lets him fly. It also lets him shoot magic missiles, homing little beacons of force. And then the suit has mending. I mean, we're saying all the spells can be functioned through the suit. So that also ties into the detect magic and identify spells being part of the suit itself. Mending is the suit self-repairing. And then he has Shield of Faith to boost his AC. He has Expeditious Retreat to dash as a bonus action. He has the Alarm spell as his sensors to set off when something comes nearby. He has the Jump ability to get a little bit of a boost before he activates his fly. He has the Arcane Lock spell on his suit so that no one else can enter it except for him. He has the Enhance ability, whether it be through enhancing his physical abilities or enhancing his mental abilities by asking Jarvis for assistance. He has Aid to grant himself a little bit more extra hit points. And then we decided Spider Climb for using magnetically locked boots to walk around to save on flying and or jumping. I'm not giving him Observant or Alert because I don't want to give him additional feats just for free. So I'm giving him feats. I gave him feats and abilities that he would gain as part of the class normally. So he got at level 1 Prodigy. At level 8 he got level 4 he got Human Determination. At level 8 he got a I'm sorry, I should put that down here. So he had a +2 intelligence, and then we did a +2 charisma because he is Tony Stark and he is very pretty. So, and persuasive and a ladies' man and all that good stuff. So, guys, thank you for coming out to another episode of It Builds Character, where we built Tony Stark / Iron Man. If you would like to suggest anything for future builds, you definitely can. And bear with me here. So, we didn't do one last week as Twitch was down. Also, it's hard to see. So we built Iron Man this week, here on the 6th. Next week, on the 13th, I'll be building Captain Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean series. And you can see my list all the way goes to next year already. So, Captain Jack, Ichigo from Bleach, Sephiroth, a Warforged pirate, Nobby Knobs from Discworld, Ezekiel Stone from Brimstone, Groot, Samurai Jack, Shrek, Link, Leroy Jenkins, Ghost Rider, Tingle from The Legend of Zelda, a Power Ranger, Guts from Berserk, Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin, and a level 20 character. Twitch came back last Wednesday, right at the end of the time for the show, so I decided to not do that. Steve Rogers? Sure. Want me to do that? I can definitely do that. So that will be... won't come till January, but... add it to the list. That's fine. I can build... you know what? I actually think it would be fun to build a level 12 Steve Rogers. And then potentially, if we have time on one of the shows, maybe we'll do someone helming level 12 Iron Man fighting level 12 Captain America. And we'll have our own little civil war and see who wins. Hey, Patroller, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by stereotypical harem anime guy, but you can hit me up on Discord and let me know what exactly you mean, and I will add that in. I don't eat cookies on stream. So, thank you guys again for coming out and checking this out.